Hello, my name's Chloe and I'm a perinatal worker for the East Hertfordshire Family Centre Service. I'm going to be talking to you today about safer sleep and we'll go through some ways of keeping babies safe whilst they're sleeping. So most newborn babies are asleep more than they're awake. So it's important to follow the safe sleep guidelines and ensure that your baby stays safe while sleeping. The amount they sleep does vary. It's usually between 8 hours and 16 hours, sometimes even up to 18 hours a day, and that's perfectly normal. And babies will wake up usually multiple times throughout the night, especially in the very early days, but because they will need feeding quite a lot at the start. As they get older, this can reduce and they might wake a little bit less in the night, but it's not guaranteed and it doesn't always happen. So it's completely normal if they do still wake or if they don't wake as much. So certain things can have an impact on your baby's sleep, and one of those things is the temperature they're sleeping in, so the temperature of the room around them whilst they're sleeping. If your baby's too hot or too cold, then this can interrupt their sleep and cause them to wake up a bit more at night. So we recommend that the ideal room temperature for your baby is between 16 and 20 degrees. So we're going to go through a few do's and don'ts of safer sleep. Now, it's recommended to always place your baby to sleep on their back, and this is so that their airways are not going to be at risk of blocking, and they're not at risk of suffocating by putting their face into the mattress or anything like that. So always place baby on their back to sleep, and that can either be in their Moses basket or their cot. And we would recommend as well that you use a firm, flat surface for baby to sleep on. So just a nice firm mattress. Babies don't need pillows or any kind of blankets underneath them, just the mattress. And your baby should also be sleeping in the same room as you up until they're 6 months at least. So once they get to 6 months, it's up to you if you want to put them into their own bedroom, but they can go there from 6 months. And after that, it is a good time, if you haven't already got one, to get a baby monitor. If they're going to be sleeping in a room separately from you, it is advised to get a baby monitor just so that you can listen out for them, and also sometimes you can get ones where you can see your baby, and they're really beneficial so that you always know that they're safe when you're not in the room with them. It's probably a good idea to get a baby monitor from when they're very young anyway, just so that in case you've put them down for a nap and you've gone to do something else, then you've always got that kind of access to hearing them or seeing them, so when you're not actually having to go into the room and disturb them. So your baby shouldn't sleep in your bed, on a sofa or on an armchair, just because, again, they're not the safest of places for babies to be sleeping. They could roll over, they could roll off onto the floor, they could get suffocated by the fabric, so it's just best for them always to be in their own cot. You can feed your baby in your bed or on a sofa or an armchair, but as long as you make sure you put baby back into their cot, because this is the safest place for them to be sleeping. We also suggest keeping anything loose out of baby's cot. So no loose bedding or blankets, no cot bumpers or toys and teddies. They just don't need them, and they only cause an extra risk of suffocation, strangulation or entrapment. So it's best just to keep baby's cot literally completely clear, just the mattress and a blanket that's tucked tightly around baby, and no further up than their shoulders. We also suggest removing any blind cords, so the little ones that you can pull down like this. We would recommend to definitely tie those up or just remove them, just because they are a choking hazard if they were to strangle baby around the neck. And especially with older babies as well, if they're crawling or if they can walk, they are more likely to be playing around with things like that. So it's best just to remove it from when they're very young, as well as the same with electrical wires. They're not the best thing to be having around babies, so it's best to just remove them. You should always dress your baby in light sleep clothes and appropriate for the weather. So if it's quite cold outside or in the room, you can get slightly thicker togged sort of baby sleeping grow bags, which are quite nice, and then you can just have some pajamas underneath or a onesie. If it's really hot outside and it's quite warm in the room, you can choose a really light tog sleeping grow bag, and then a very thin baby grow underneath. You should never share your bed with your baby, especially if you smoke, drink or take drugs. That's because you're more likely to be unaware of your surroundings, and accidents could happen. You could roll onto baby and be completely unaware because you're not aware of your surroundings. So it's recommended to never share your bed with your baby, especially in those circumstances. And you should keep your baby's head uncovered whilst they're sleeping and in bed. So blankets should just sit no further up than baby's shoulders, and tucked nicely in so that there's less chance of it coming loose and becoming a suffocation hazard. So just some final tips to go through. At night you might find it helpful to keep the lights low so that baby gets to understand that when it's dark it means it's time to go to sleep, and that can just be, you know, dimming the lights, just keeping everything nice and quiet and just keeping voices low so that baby knows it's time to sleep. Also, you can put your baby down as soon as they've fed and been changed, just to get them into that routine. There's no more playing, no kind of more active time. It's just have a nice feed, get changed and go to bed. It gets them into that habit. And we would suggest to only change your baby if they're sleeping, if it's necessary. So if you don't really need to change them, then you can just leave it until they do definitely need to be changed. You could risk waking them up unnecessarily if you do that. So that's all from me, but please follow the link in the comments below if you would like some further information from the Lullaby Trust. So if you can see the posters around me, it's from the Lullaby Trust. They are all about safer sleep and preventing sudden infant death syndrome. So if you have any further sort of questions or you need any more information, they are a fantastic website to check out. These also do come in various different languages, so if you do require one in your language, then if you can get in touch with the Family Centre, either you can leave a comment or you can give us a call on 0300 123 7572. Thank you.